السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Welcome again to النحو التطبيقي Practical Arabic Grammar. Today we are looking at lesson point number ba مواضع الضمير المستتر جوازا. Remember we said ضمير مستتر can be either جوازا or it can be وجوبا. And we have already discussed the wujuban part. So today we're going to finish off with the mustatir. That is a situation in which you have the option to hide or to conceal a domir. And we're going to look at the instances, mawadi, instances where you can do that. And the first instance is الضمير مرفوع. الضمير المرفوع بفعل الواحد للغائب. ضمير that is مرفوع. Remember we have ضمائر يعني النصب and then we have ضمائر الرفع. So this ضمير must be ضمير مرفوع. When we're talking about like هو, here, and then أنا, نحن, and etc. etc. But here we're looking at those that are for غائب. Very, very important. Remember, غائب from the word غاب means to be absent. Absent. But in grammar, when we say ضمير الغائب, we're looking at third person pronoun. Third person pronoun in Arabic. So in English, third person like he, she, it, and then we can have they as plural. He, she, it, and they. These are third person pronouns. So in Arabic, when we say ضمير الغائب, we are talking about third person pronouns. So this ضمير must be مرفوع, ضمير الرفعي, and then it must be for فعل الواحد, for one verb, and then it must be غائب. That's the first instance. For instance, نحو زيد قام. زيد قام or زيد يقوم. So we're looking at the file, and file is always what? مرفوع. And the domain for file must also be مرفوع. So in the Arab, we say الفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا. So this one is no wajib. تقديره, right? By estimation, we can estimate and say the ضمير is هو, because it's هو زيد هو قام. زيد هو قام. But we don't say زيد هو قام. So we need to hide this one. Or زيد يقوم فعل المضارع. The same thing. الفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. And the second instance is الضمير مرفوع بفعل غائبة. Now compare غائب masculine, غائبة female or feminine. So this time the ضمير must be مرفوع. However, بفعل, right? بفعل, but it must be غائبة. The ضمير must be غائبة here. So we can say, or we can deduce by saying that ضمير الرفعي, right? We can have الغائب, which is هو, and then ضمير الرفعي للغائبة, and then that is what? Here. ضمير الرفعي للغائب هو ضمير الرفعي للغائبة هي. And they are all damir that we can do mustatir on. So for instance, nahu, for instance, nahu, for instance, hindun qamat, hindun qamat, right? Hindun qamat, Hindu stood up. So where is the damir mustatir? That is the file. Hindun taqum, hindun taqum, hindun taqum. فاعله ضمير مستتر تقديره هي. Now remember, فعل الأمر, if you say kum, you see that the ضمير مستتر for kum is أنت. أنت is not غائب. أنت is the مخاطب, the person you are talking to. So this one is second person pronoun. So مخاطب is second person. But if you move to قام, قام من هو. If you say قامت, قامت, then what is the ضمير? Here. So you see that this one is غائب, and then this one is غائبة. So this is third person pronoun, third person pronoun, third person pronoun masculine, third person pronoun feminine. Second person pronoun masculine, kum, kum. So ضمير مستتر تقديره أنت في الأمر. So you can see that ضمير مستترات, but the kum here is what? وجوبا, isn't it? وجوبا. And these two are what? جائز. So we need to take note of that. So when you say هند قامت أو هند تقوم, الفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هي. Now let's look at this, the third instance. The third instance where ضمير can be مستتر is الضمير مرفوع باسم الفعل ماضي. Remember we have اسم فعل الأمر, and then we have اسم فعل الماضي, and then we have اسم فعل الأمر, فعل المضارع. So here we're looking at اسم فعل الماضي. اسم فعل ماضي. So basically now verb, past now verb. A now verb is a noun or a verb like, or a noun like, now verb like word that behaves like a verb but is a noun. Something that is behaving like a verb but is a noun. That is the ismo fi'il, right? We call it ismo ismul fi'il. We've already discussed that. And then the ismul fi'il we have for amr, al-amr, and then we have for madi, and then we have for mudari. Right? So if damir can be mustatir, we can also look at it from the perspective of ismul fi'l al-madi. And one of the ismul fi'l al-madi is hayhat. Hayhat is like you are saying it is impossible. It is impossible. So hayhat is Zaidu hayhat. You are trying to say it is impossible for Zaid, right? Or you wish it happens for Zaid, but it's not going to happen. Hayhat. Hayhat. Or basically, you're trying also to say it is too late. It's too late. It's too late. It's never going to happen. So hayhat is ismul fi'l. So you see that it's ismul fi'l al-madi. هيهات is اسم الفعل الماضي. And there are some few أسماء يعني أفعال in Arabic. We will discuss this in the earlier chapter, in the earlier episode. So you may want to go back and review. هيهات is اسم فعل ماضي بمعنى بعودة. See, بعودة. This is something is بعودة is far. Far. So it's like we're saying how far. How far. How far what you are looking for. How far what you are thinking. Means it's never gonna happen. Now this is mabni, right? It's hayhat is mabni. It's gonna be hayhata all the time. You're never gonna find hayhatu or hayhati. It's always hayhata. So that's why it's mabni. It's static. It's stationary. على الفتح مبني على الفتح هيهات. والفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. Because you're talking about Zaid. So اسم فعل الماضي also calls for ضمير مستتر جوازا. And let's look at instances number 4. الضمير المرفوع باسم الفاعل أو اسم المفعول أو الصفة المشبهة. Now these are all mushtaqat. In some grammar books they call it mushtaqat. And mushtaqat basically like derivatives. Derivatives. By derivatives, that is nouns that are derived. They are derived from let's say a verb or other sources. So like the English word mushtaqat, because ismul fa'il is mushtaq, right? Is derived from a verb, right? For instance, if I say jalasa, I will get ismul fa'il jalis. If I say kataba, I get ismul fa'il katib. If I get sajada, I get ismul fa'il sajid. If I say qara'a, I get ismul fa'il qari. And on and on and on. So you can see that it's a mushtaq, right? It's a mushtaq. Ismul fa'il is mushtaq. And then we have ismul maf'ul. So ismul fa'il is subjective now. And then ismul maf'ul is objective. It's in an objective case. And ismul maf'ul too is mushtaq. It's derived from the verb. But it's derived from the verb in the form of what we call passive or passive case or passive voice. And in Arabic they say مبني للمجهول. مبني للمجهول. It's a passive case. For instance, أكل. The passive is أكل. It is from this that we derive اسم مفعول. We derive اسم مفعول from here. So for instance, if I say أكل الطعام, أكل الطعام, the food, either the food was eaten or it means the food has been eaten. So this is a passive voice. This is a past passive. The food was eaten is past passive voice, and the food has been eaten is past participle, right? Now, أكل الطعام. Another way of saying أكل الطعام, you can say الطعام معقول. الطعام معقول. The food is eaten or was eaten. The food was eaten, or the food is eaten, or the food has been eaten. The food has been eaten. الطعام معقول. So this is اسم مفعول. So اسم مفعول too is the mushtaq. But اسم مفعول is mushtaq من مبني للمجهول. فعل الماضي مبني للمجهول. أكل الطعام. أكل الطعام. أكل الطعام. Right? Another example, let's say futiha. Fataha. Fataha. Futiha. So فتح الدكان. فتح الدكان. The store is open. I can also say it in a different way. الدكان. الدكان مفتوح. الدكان مفتوح. Or الدكان مفتوح. If you are ending up. So this is what we mean by اسم مفعول. And then we have الصفة المشبهة. I'll call it permanent attributive quality. Attributive quality. صفة مشبهة. And in Arabic they say الصفة المشبهة تدل على الثبوت. تدل على الثبوت من الفعل. And صفة مشبهة has so many forms, right? صفة مشبهة have so many forms. Some of the easiest form is مفعال. مفعال like مدرار. مدرار يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا. So مدرار, which is مفعال, is صفة المشبهة, right? And some people say it's صيغ المبالغة, which is different. And then another word is فعال, right? فعال, like قتال, right? Like حباز. That's also صفة المشبهة. And then we have the fa'il, which is the most popular. The fa'il form, like Kareem, Jamil, Rahim, Sami', Basir. So you see the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attribute in the Quran, most of them are in the fa'il form because they are sifatul mushabbaha. Sifatul mushabbaha is a permanent attributive quality. It doesn't change. For instance, if you say rajulun, when we say somebody is kind, for instance, the adjective kind is sifatul mushabbah. Sifatul mushabbaha is sifatul mushabbaha, right? Is sifatul mushabbaha. And what does this sifatul mushabbaha give? تدل على ايه الثبوت. تدل على الثبوت. صفة المشبهة تدل على الثبوت. أو permanent attributive quality, right? Sifatul mushabbaha. So when you say somebody is Kareem, Kareemun, it means he's kind or generous or maybe noble. These are qualities that are permanent. So it's sifatul mushabbaha. Or you say somebody's Jamil, Rajulun Jamilun. Huwa Rajulun Jamilun, meaning He's handsome. Handsome is a permanent attributive quality. It's not going to change. If you are handsome, you're handsome forever. So اسم الفاعل اسم المفعول and then صفة المشبهة can also stimulate ضمير مستتر جوازا. So let's look at it. زيد قائم. The قائم is اسم فاعل. الفاعل اسم الفاعل ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. زيد مضروب from the word ضرب. So it came from ضرب. ضرب زيد. ضرب زيد. Zaid was beaten. ضرب زيد. Zaid was beaten. Right? Zaid was beaten. ضرب زيد. Zaid was beaten. Or you can say زيد مضروب. زيد مضروب. Zaid was beaten. So نائب الفاعل مضروب. نائب الفاعل اسم المفعول ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو زيد. So that's another instance. So let's look at another example. زيد حسن. This is صفة المشبهة. حسن. So فعل. فعل. صفة المشبهة. So this is one of the forms. One of the forms. I gave مفعال, and then I also talk about فعيل, and then I also talk about فعال. So the writer used, there are about 8 forms of it. I can't recollect all of them, but the most popular is the fa'il and the fa'al, the mif'al, fa'al, and then fa'alun, hasanun. So زيد حسن فاعل لصفة المشبهة ضمير مستتر جوازا تقديره هو. So let's look at خلاصة. خلاصة. خلاصة في استتار الضمير. So we're looking at the summary, right? The sum of the concealment of dhamir. Concealment of dhamir. That is pronouns in Arabic. So in all, what we have done can be summed up in 2 sentences, right? If dhamir is going to be mustatir, number 1, أن يكون الضمير مستترا وجوبا, right? So we have ضمير مستتر وجوبا إذا كان تقديره, if the estimation of the ضمير is going to be أنا, نحن, أنت, بلا a شروط, without any condition, right? There's no condition. So أنا, أنت, أنا, نحن, أنت, there's no conditions requirement on it. However, هو هي في التعجب or استثناء, right? They need shurut. So ta'ajjub, remember I said, is what? Exclamation or exclamatory. And then istithna is what? Exceptive. It's like you are saying, except you. So exceptive sentences in Arabic. Later on, we're going to look at them. And then 2, يكون الضمير مستتر جوازا إذا كان تقديره, if the estimation or the تقدير is going to be هو and here. في غير تعجب ولا استثناء, right? Without exclamatory, use of exclamatory element, or without using exceptive element. So these are the 2 critical points, right? Point 1, and then 2 here that you need to imbibe regarding ضمير مستتر and whether it's also going to be wujuban or it's going to be jawazan. So that is it regarding the domair. What we have now is تطبيقات على الضمير. Practical examples on the ضمير that we have discussed. تطبيق الأول, you're going to have مجاب عنه. The writer has provided answers. And then another form of تطبيقات, practical examples, you are supposed to provide the answers yourself. So I hope you have time to go through them. Now, this is the second one. التطبيق الثاني يطلب جواب عنه. Right? They demand answers from you. You're going to go through it. For instance, استخرج كل ضمير مما يلي. Right? Extract every ضمير in the following. واذكر نوعه, and indicate the type. Right? Whether it's ضمير مستتر, is جوازا أو وجوبا أو ضمير متصل أو ضمير منفصل. ومحله أناسة محلات من الإعراب. إذا في محل الرفع, في محل النصب, أو في محل الجر. You need to indicate all of that. I hope you're going to find time to go through it, inshallah. Thank you so much for listening. Next time we meet, we're going to look at al-alamu. Al-alamu. دمتم بخير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.